Welcome to Seize the Mains by Malhotra's IS Academy. I am Surbhi Sardana and this is season 3 of our daily answer writing initiative. This initiative, Seize the Mains, is running in coordination with our website, which is rajisacademy.com. On our website, on the mains answer writing section, you can see a list of questions and answers, model answers to these questions that we have discussed on Seize the Mains till date. So without further ado, let's see what is the topic for today. It is India and ASEAN, and the question is this. This question has been uploaded on our website. Under the model answer, here is a comment section on our website. After going through this discussion, after reading out the model answer on our website, what you can do is write your own answer, post it on our website and get it evaluated by our experts entirely free of cost. So let's see what is the question. Shed some light on the relationship between India and ASEAN, Association for Southeast Asian Nations. We've written the short form here. What are the challenges that the nations can collectively address together in future? Answer in 250 words. So yes, let's look at the first part of this question. Shed some light on the relationship between India and ASEAN. So what is the current status, how the relationship evolved, how it started, how it developed, what is the strength of relationship between India and ASEAN. Secondly, what are the challenges? Challenges not between relationship between India and ASEAन, चैलेंजेस या जो प्रॉब्लम्स हैं इंडिया और एशियान के रिलेशनशिप में, वो एक बहुत ही एक्सपेक्टेड क्वेश्चन है. द इंटायर कंटेंट इज अवेलेबल, इट्स फ्लोइंग through the web. But here are what are the challenges that the nations can collectively address together in future. So in a way they are asking you, if India and ASEAN have strong ties, how can it benefit the 10 countries of ASEAN and India together, or the global future as a whole. Answer in 250 words. Again 250 words का जो आंसर है आपका लॉन्ग आंसर में आता है, but since this has two parts, the question has two parts, and here shedding some light on the relationship between India and ASEAN, that will take good chunk of words. Around 100 words would be taken by this one, so you'll have to save good amount of words for the next part also. The challenges or the goals these two nations, the ASEAN and India, they can pursue together. So very intelligently, first of all, what we'll do is we'll write an introduction. Introduction is just a basic conversation. इंट्रोडक्शन में आप बैकग्राउंड बताएंगे एशियान और इंडिया के रिलेशंस का. After giving the background and the present status in 2 to 3 lines, you will move on to talk about the first part of your question, that is shedding some light on the relationship between India and ASEAN. And do not forget to include the current affairs. Recently, ASEAN defense ministerial meeting was held and India is a part of it. So include the proposals that have been made at this meeting also, at this convention also. So include that in your answer whenever you're writing an answer related to international relations. Current affairs from the past 15 days, they should be seen, they should reflect in your answers. Otherwise it becomes something, it becomes very static and you do not get very good marks on that. So yes, let's start with the introduction first. We'll talk about the historical perspective. इंडिया के बहुत अच्छे relations थे ancient times से with Southeast Asian nations. So we'll say that the cultural, economic and civilizational ties that have existed between India and Southeast Asia since times immemorial have provided the strong foundation to India-ASEAN relations to build partnership between ASEAN and India in modern times. So very softly you are starting an answer, you're giving a background, you're talking about that what is the common point between all these countries and India, and why are we focusing on these countries? Because we have cultural, economic and civilizational ties already. Then talk about how the relationship emerged. So the two sides established a sectoral dialogue partnership in 1992, which was elevated to a full-fledged dialogue partnership in 1996, and recently it has been updated to comprehensive strategic partnership. So this part is from current affairs. So yes, these two points were similar for the past 2-3 years, for many years in this answer, but this part has been added, which means that you are an aware aspirant, and hence writing this line would make your answer updated. With the objective of advancing maritime security and connectivity initiative. This is optional, but yes, the strategic partnership, it has been updated. The relationship has been elevated to comprehensive strategic partnership with this objective of maritime security and connectivity initiatives. Now we'll talk about the relationship between both the countries in detail. So we'll give a linkage point, we'll write one line about this. The relations between ASEAN and India can be broadly summarized as follows, or what you can do is, without using this linkage point, just give a heading from here to here. Add it in capital words, write this much sentence, these many terms in capitals, and then start with your body paragraph 1. So first of all, let's talk about trade. Always start with the economic perspective, because when money flows, relations get better, international relations, they get better. So trade is of utmost importance. Trade and security are of utmost importance, to be very precise. So in your international relations answers, talk about economic perspective and security perspective first. Talk about other soft perspectives, collaboration between student exchange programs, collaboration on the softer level, any policy teaching or any research programs that are being held between both the countries. They should come later. The economic part and the security part should be in the beginning. So ASEAN is India's 4th largest trading partner, accounting for 10.2% of India's total trade, and I think India is also 7th largest trading partner of ASEAN. So if you feel, you can write it from the other side also, that why is India important for ASEAN. We are writing it with respect to India. Any data with regards to economy, with regards to trade would work here in your first point, just include it here. Secondly, talking about the strategic perspective or the security perspective. India places ASEAN at the center of its Indo-Pacific vision of security and growth for all in the region. India recently reaffirmed the importance of freedom of navigation and overflight in the strategically important region. This is again from current affairs. The third one is that ASEAN is the central pillar of India's Act East policy, again, which is also important for a stronghold in Northeast India. For connectivity to Northeast India, for having a stronghold in Northeast India, ASEAN is very important for us. It is the central pillar of India's Act East policy. So look at these, first 3 points. They summarize the trade and security and the strategic part in a very short word limit and in a very clear manner. Then ASEAN attracts a vital part of the energy and funding invested through the Act East policy. You can club it with this, but talk about that a lot of energy and funding is being given to ASEAN countries through this Act East policy. You can have this as a separate point or club it here. Here we are talking about the security perspective, Northeast perspective. Here we are talking about what India is doing as, the leading nation here. See, we have covered 4 points. We'll cover 3 more in the significance or in the India-ASEAN relations. Here you should understand, if the first part is talking about trade, second part is talking about strategy, the third part is talking about Northeast, fourth part talks about funding and collaborations, always come up with a diagram. Write trade here, write security here, write Northeast here, write Indo-Pacific here, and always have such kind of representative diagrams in your answers. They will get you more marks. Next one is, India has already been a partner in ADMM Plus, which was held recently, ASEAN Defence Ministers Meeting, a platform for ASEAN and its 8 dialogue partners to strengthen security and defence cooperation for peace, stability and development in the region. So you can include this. This is a very important platform. The next one is, generally we are talking about that India and ASEAN are collaborating almost on more than 30 platforms. You can talk about the Delhi dialogue here. This is annual track 1.5 event. You have the Delhi declaration for the cooperation in maritime domain and any other things. You have, ASEAN plus 6, ASEAN plus 8, and India is already a part of ASEAN Regional Forum. So you can list them down as examples, but tell that yes, there is a lot of collaboration going on when it comes to conversations and running initiatives in a collaborative manner. The recently proposed India-ASEAN initiative on marine plastic pollution includes channelizing of the energy of the youth towards addressing the critical issue of marine pollution. See, here we've talked about relations directly. हमने direct बात की है. Here we are talking about something with respect to environment, something with respect to channelizing youth. Also, we are inviting 1,000 students from ASEAN on scholarship on student exchange program, or we are providing them with scholarships. You can add them here also. This is the softer part of relationships. That what are these countries doing on a collaborative basis. So talk about this also, but talk about it towards the end of this part. Now moving on to the second part, which talks about the collective solutions, or what are the challenges that these two countries can address collectively. Again, maritime domain is of utmost importance. You have the South China Sea, you have China flexing its muscles through its, maritime boundary or land boundary. Secondly, you have northeast, which is connected to the rest of the India by a very small corridor called the Chicken's Neck or Siliguri corridor. So for that, handling the northeast, handling insurgency there, ASEAN and India can play a vital role. Secondly, in the maritime domain, there is a lot of piracy that happens. Merchant vessels are not able to travel safely. There is a lot of pollution that is happening, and China is increasing its presence. So to tackle all the maritime challenges, India and ASEAN can work together. So India and ASEAN must work together for maritime security in the Indo-Pacific region. Steps like anti-piracy operations, armed robbery against ships, maritime safety, search and rescue operations, humanitarian assistance and emergency response and relief can be taken. Secondly, enhanced collaboration between all these nations can help against terrorism and international crimes, whether with regards to smuggling of wild animals or plants or trophies, or any other international crimes on a financial level, or just with the focus of terrorism. They can be handled, including international economic crimes, money laundering, cyber crime, drugs and human trafficking, and arms smuggling. Talk about smuggling of wild animals and plants also here, because a lot of reports have been released in the past 3 to 4 years with regards to smuggling of wild animals and plants for monetary purposes. So include that also. FATF has come up with a report around 2 years back. So yes, enhanced cooperation in the space sector. Now India is moving towards we are moving towards commercialization of space. Entry of private sector into space has been seen in the past 1 month. We've seen Agnikul come up with a 3D printed rocket engine. We have seen Vikram S being launched by Skyroot Aerospace, and ISRO claims that 100 new startups in the space domain have been registered. So these startups, they need to have some commercial profits or commercial gains also, and for that commercial gains, these countries, ASEAN nations which do not have a very strong capability in the space sector, these are very important. Collaborative satellites can be launched. India can gain a lot of profit, and simultaneously these countries can be helped. We can launch satellites for them, we can carry out space missions for them at a very economical price. So yes, enhanced cooperation in the space sector, including through establishment of tracking, data reception and processing stations in Vietnam and Indonesia. We've already launched satellites for Vietnam earlier, sometimes free of cost also. So India's upcoming private sector in space has huge potential in this regard. Both sides can deepen cooperation in the digitally supported agriculture sector. ASEAN nations, many of these ASEAN nations are dominated by agriculture. They did not get a full-fledged industrial revolution, just like India did not get an industrial revolution of its own. So many of these ASEAN countries, they are either dependent on agriculture, advanced agriculture to be very precise there, or they depend on the service sector. So yes, if all these nations and India, they come together, they establish their strong foothold, then they can negotiate better to in the agriculture sector, to ensure a future ready, resilient, sustainable food supply. So research and technical advancements in agriculture can be worked upon here. The fifth point here is that India and ASEAN can work closely in terms of securing affordable medicines and vaccines, especially after this COVID-19 pandemic. There has been a tussle between securing intellectual property rights for these commercial agencies or private arms that are producing vaccines and medicines, and on the other hand, providing affordable vaccines and medicines for the developing world. So their citizens as the world, for their citizens as the whole world is facing health challenges, there is this Asia India Science and Technology Fund to enhance cooperation in sectors of public health, renewable energy and smart agriculture that can play a vital role here. Make sure that you write about this fund and you underline it. The sixth one is that not just India but most Asian countries are at the receiving end of climate change. Recently you saw Conference of Parties 27, COP27 concluding. Loss and damage fund was set up, but we also had this $100 billion target which had to be given by developed nations to the emerging economies or the most vulnerable nations of the world. And promises with regards to providing funds and transferring technologies, they have not been fulfilled by the Western world or by the northern nations. So yes, India and ASEAN can collaborate on a collective level in fighting climate change and negotiating better for emerging economies. The seventh one is that collaboration with the ASEAN nations is necessary to counter insurgency in the northeast, combat terrorism, tax evasion, etc. Also, why haven't we included this point in the first few points itself? Because when we were talking about relationships, then we always start with economy and security perspective. When you're talking about collective challenges that can be addressed, make sure that you talk about global challenges or very big challenges first, and challenges like terrorism, insurgency, which are very local to India. This is something which is very India centric, that comes later. Also, again, it's your choice whenever you're talking about collective challenges or collective solutions that India and ASEAN can work upon, but talk about the global things first which affect both ASEAN nations and India as a whole. In the conclusion, again, what we do is we sum up our answer. Either we sum up, we give a way forward, or we stress upon some very important point which has not been included in the answer, or something that has not been asked to us by the examiner himself in the question. तो अगर question में आपसे कुछ नहीं पूछा गया है या आपको क्वेश्चन का जो कंटेंट है आपको इतना अच्छा नहीं लगा कि आप कुछ कहना चाहते थे बट आप लिख नहीं पाए हैं, यूज योर कंक्लूजन्स फॉर दैट क्रिएटिविटी, यूज योर कंक्लूजन्स टू showcase that extra knowledge or that extra reading you've done throughout the year. So here just write down that India has cultivated strong bonds of historical and contemporary significance, historical and contemporary both significance with the ASEAN. India's engagement with the ASEAN countries is necessary when China wants to aggressively increase its dominance in the South China Sea and the Strait of Malacca. Talk about Indo-Pacific here. You can also write straight away Indo-Pacific here, Indo-Pacific area, and then mention about South China Sea and the Strait of Malacca. Very important from international trade point of view. So India is taking steps in the right direction with increasing influence over the region by increasing solidarity, pushing connectivity initiatives, and now defense cooperations through the ADMM. The yielding of the measures will shortly be seen in an upcoming joint exercise. So in May 2023, that is next year, a joint exercise between militaries or navies of Asian nations and Navy of India, that would be that would be seen, a joint exercise would be seen next year. So make sure if they release the name in a ministerial statement, in a press release, write the name of that joint exercise for sure in your conclusion, and save some content separately for conclusion. Don't include everything in your body paragraphs, have something for your conclusion as well, because it is your presentation that will matter, that will get you more marks. So yes, the yielding of the measures will shortly be seen in an upcoming joint exercise, and then you can write an extra line that these relations are for sure about to strengthen in the coming times, and they have a lot of potential to change the global order or the world order, affected for the good. So this is your full answer for the day. Visit our website rajayesacademy.com to read out this model answer. Then try to write your own answer, post it on our website, and our team will evaluate that answer in next 48 hours. Also, you can answer any of the 123 questions that have been taken on Seize the Mains till date. So don't worry about getting late or watching this video at a later time. You're not behind anyone, you're not behind any of the things. Just keep answering the questions, keep practicing, and get them evaluated by us. Stay tuned to the channel. I'll see you with another discussion tomorrow at 9 PM.